Hello, thank you for joining us today. Today I'm here sitting with Aaron Hsieh. Did I say that correctly?
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. He's the owner of Fatherhood, a program about fathers and things like that. He's actually a member in Prosper. We're going to just, do a quick, impromptu, well, I have some questions, but interview, and I'm really excited about what he's going to say. I think it's going to help a lot of people, a lot of educators, a lot of parents, and just anybody that, if this video falls in front of you. So Aaron, welcome. Just appreciate you stopping by for the conversation.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, for sure. So just before we get started, I guess you can kind of just, kind of tell people who you are, kind of what you're about, and then we can kind of jump into a few questions.
All right. I'm a teacher. I taught science for 7 years, and now I teach PE. I coach 4 sports. Last year I coached football, basketball, track, and soccer. We won district in track. And we got to the championship game for basketball and soccer, but we fell a little short. Now, with Forged in Fatherhood, just trying to help dads be more present with their kids. For me, I think I've seen, the kids, people, hitting their kids, spanking their kids, and then other parents just letting them kind of do whatever they want. And I feel like there has to be some medium in between, right? And so we just look at science-based research and use that to help us figure out this whole parenting thing.
I like how you talked about the extremes. Well, I've known you personally. I know, like you said, you taught science for years. You've coached many sports. I know you talked about what happened this year, but I know you won multiple championships.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of talents, a lot of abilities. Why did you choose fatherhood? Why Forged in Fatherhood? Why not something else?
So I think it's just something that I really am passionate about, and something that I always find myself talking about. When it's playing ball or whatever with a bunch of other dads, we're always just talking and either talking about this basketball, sports, or statistics, whatever players going on. And I think that one thing that always comes up though is like philosophy, and specifically philosophy on parenting.
Yeah.
Especially as teachers, we talk about students, we talk about education, and then that always kind of leads back to our kids and us as fathers, and then our philosophies as fathers, and what we've seen doesn't work, and tying that back into kind of like the problems of society, and trying to figure all that out.
So you decided not to just talk about it, but be about it.
Yeah.
You're like, I want to be the change I want to see.
Yeah, for sure.
I understand that. So I guess my question to you is, I know that you're a father of 2 wonderful young kids. I don't like my kids around many people. Many kids, I gotta be honest, I'm a little careful with that, but they're always welcome around your kids. So my question to you is, what kind of father did you want to be even before you had kids?
A father that really could listen and hear who their kid is. Like not just like see it, not just say like, oh, I'm here for them, or I'm showing up, right? Because showing up is incredibly important, but really be able to see them for who they are, and then really be a part of their life.
Yeah. So what does showing up actually look like for you, like on a day-to-day basis?
So of course, being there, right?
Yeah.
And I know for me, it's hard because of my schedule with coaching and everything. With practice in the afternoon, that's difficult. But there is a window of time where I can be there, and within that window, I wanted to like maximize the efficiency in terms of like how I'm able to build a connection with them, be around them, and so that when I'm able to be with them during the summertime, it's not like, oh, dad's been gone the whole year and now I'm meeting this person again. It's, I'm able to be there, be present. And I think that like for me, a lot of it is understanding that I'm gonna make a mistake.
Yeah.
But like that mistake doesn't define who I am as a father.
Okay.
And then going back and trying to repair if something happened, right? If there was something that, we had a long day, one of my kids spilled some milk, and then, if I snapped or something, then it's like going back and being like, hey, I shouldn't have yelled at you. I shouldn't have said that. This is how we can, try to be try to not spill the milk in the future. You know, like let's move it towards the table. Let's not walk with it, or like, you know, let's not walk with it on the carpet. You know, things like that. And instead of just telling them what not to do, trying to give them options of what to do. So then you're like building a connection together by solving a problem. You
know, you talked about being present, being connected with your children. I know teaching can be a big thing for people. Coaching is a huge thing. Kids, wife, all of these things. So when this idea came to your mind, when it's like, okay, I'm thinking about starting a business, I'm thinking about, you know, possibly joining a program, I'm thinking about these things. I'd like to know, what was your initial thought when you thought about adding one more thing to the mix of all that?
Oh, I'm crazy. I have to be crazy.
Okay.
I have to be crazy. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, that was the initial thought, right?
Yeah.
But then like the other thought was, and the thought that kind of like overtook that was, you know, why not me? Because I feel like so much of the things that are going on, you know, financially or whatever, it's like, oh man, you know, we're just trying to do well, you're trying to get by, you know? And I thought to myself, you know, why not me? Why can't I do something worthwhile? Why can't I create something that will help people, right? Because I think, like, you know, you enter teaching with the idea that you're going to help people.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what I want, and I still want to do that, right?
Yeah.
And then you know, that was kind of the question, like, why not me? Why can't I reach more people?
That's good. I like that. I like that idea, because, you know, helping people is good. Helping people is awesome, but helping people, that doesn't necessarily pay. That doesn't pay the bills.
Yeah.
Adding value, though, that's something different. When you choose to add value on a deeper level, you know, the market would demand to pay you. Even if you don't want to, somebody's going to come with money. Hey, I need to pay you to do this thing that adds value to my life. Is there a specific day or moment where you kind of almost talk yourself out of doing this?
A lot of the first few months. I was like, man, I can't. Yeah, I mean, just a lot of second guessing. I think the biggest thing for me is the idea of imposter syndrome.
Yeah,
you know, like the opposite of like, why not me? Is like, well, why would anybody listen to me? Why would anybody? Why do I feel like I have some value to add to people?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what kind of helped you get over that?
Just continuing to talk to people. Just continuing to talk to the dads around me. Looking at the research, the research of what I'm doing, what's out there for dads, and yeah, just kind of like when I communicated with a bunch of the fathers within my circle, the same thing kind of came up, and I kept hearing the same questions or the same responses over and over again, is that they were trying to figure this out, and they were all trying to figure it out. The phrase I keep hearing all the time is like, there is no playbook for being a parent. But I disagree with that. I think that there are science-based methods that have been proven now, but like they're just either not necessarily accessible, or they don't come up on our feeds, right? Or, you know, we're so busy with our own lives that we aren't able to take a second to look at that, right? And then also it just takes a lot of self-reflection to be able to sit down and be like, hey, I messed up, I want to be better, and okay, now what? And I think that was a very common theme, and when I talk to a lot of the dads, is that, hey, I want to be better, I don't necessarily know how.
Okay.
And that's kind of the question that I took, and I just tried to answer that.
It seems like you saw something, well, comment here. It seems like you saw something that you couldn't unsee. It was, okay, I think I want to do something about fatherhood. You started having conversations around that, and then the same problem kept on surfacing, and you realize, oh, I might have an answer for that. On the other side of that, you speak about, you know, science-based fatherhood. I know that society has caused a lot of skepticism against science. You know, a lot of people, they'll see, you know, people live in two far different camps, you know, and there has to be a kind of middle ground. You know, where do we go from, you know, from theory to, hey, this works in practice? You know, how have you found, you know, kind of walking that out?
So I think it actually looking back on the seventh grade science curriculum, we did a book called I think it's called Phineas Gage. I think it was Phineas Gage, where a man who worked on the railroad basically a dynamite went off next to him, and then like a metal bar went through his brain. Right? He didn't die, but his personality completely changed based on that, right? And that was when we actually started to learn about the brain, right? And that happened relatively recently within human history.
Yeah,
I'm talking. I'm thinking like, you know, whenever the railroad, like 1900s, right?
Yeah.
And so that made me think that, okay, our understanding of how the brain works is very like is still very surface level, and we're continuing to learn, you know, as science develops, as we you know, look at and examine our brain, right? And you know, mental health is just rather recently becoming an important factor in how we live. So I just think that, you know, we didn't know things before, and now with research, it's become more of a more accessible. And when we learn about you know, what our behaviors and how they affect our kids, based on all of the research and, you know, psychologists, all these, you know, people who are working in the field, the findings that they have, you know, from that point, you know, we can develop a strategy and then go from there. And I think that, you know, it's just you see it, right? And there's a feeling, right? Like I had a feeling that hitting my kids was not okay, right? And I believe now that, you know, our kids use us as models. So I cannot expect my kid to not hit someone else if I'm hitting them. And just from there, I'm like, okay, well then that now goes against what a lot of people think. So, well, why? And then I started looking into why, and looked at the science behind behavior, science behind how, you know, the parent-child relationship, and using that as like a jumping off point in terms of like the method of, you know, how to go about my process as a parent.
And I think one thing that makes you experience an incredible source on this is being a coach. Being not just a coach, but a winning coach. You've influenced hundreds, if not thousands upon thousands of young students growing into maturity, but you couldn't hit any of them. You wouldn't have a job. You had to find ways to influence them in other ways, and you're able to still get the best out of them without physical contact. Because even if you do choose to spank your kids, if you have to spank them past the age of 10, something's wrong. You messed up. You messed up way back then. You messed up if you're having to use that as a manipulative tool at that point.
Right.
But that's just my opinion. So you name your program Forge in Fatherhood. Why that? What does Forge mean to you?
Man, so I like the idea of the heat being applied, because I feel like, you know, when you look back and you examine your past trauma, you examine your triggers, you examine the things that kind of made you who you are today, there's feeling to that, right? And when you're in the Forge, it's not about creating something new, right? And the image that I always get of the Forge is you're taking something that already exists and you're molding it into something else. And to me, it's like we are people, like we are powerful people, right? And what we do matters, and it affects the people that, you know, our kids, right? So taking who we are and then molding it into something that is even better, right? Adding the heat, adding the carbon to make, you know, for iron to become steel, right? Forging it together and making something stronger coming out of it is the image that I get when fathers join the program and then when they exit. You know, what's cooler than a dude hammering metal and sparks flying everywhere and fire, you know, like
nothing, not much.
What's manlier than that?
You know? You're in the middle of your first cohort. How does that feel, especially delivering something that's so close to you? How does that feel in real time?
equal parts relieving, exhilarating, and terrifying at the same time.
Okay.
Because you're putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
Right. And the people that you're working with want something too.
Yeah.
Right. And you're working together to come up with an end result.
Okay.
Right. And I love it. Right. Because I'm an extrovert, so I get energy from being around people. You know. So I love it. And also, I feel like it's because it is so close to me. It is. I do feel very vulnerable when I put it out there, because and even with the videos on social media, it's like now everyone's here to see it, to judge it, right?
Yeah.
So I think those are like relieving, terrifying, exhilarating at the same time. Because like there's no like you post it and it's like, oh man, here we go. Best, I think it feels. it feels whatever it feels blank, and whatever you want, it's valid, right? Like
So being in the middle of your cohort, has there been a moment already that kind of really just hit you, where something just really just stuck out to you?
I think the biggest thing for me is that it makes me reflective on being a dad, right? And like I don't want to be a fraud, right? So the imposter syndrome is real, right? So I cannot talk about the things that I'm talking about and then not do it myself.
Yeah.
Right. And not ask to do it. I cannot ask someone else to do it and then not follow through, in my own life. Right.
Yeah.
So I think the biggest thing is that I found is that like not only, and the thing is I have tried everything that we talk about. I have, if it has appeared in my life with my kids, I've tried it. I've done it.
Yeah.
But I think like the connection, the biggest thing has been the connection of our stories.
Yeah.
While we all have come from different places, different walks of life, different states, different areas, we all have similar issues or similar conversations about how fatherhood is going. And then not only how fatherhood is going, but how our parents have shaped our lives, and then what our models were and how we want to do something different for the future.
If there is one thing you can say, how have you shown up different for your children after kind of helping other people through some of those things?
How have I shown up differently?
Yeah.
Just being more intentional about living the truth that I'm trying to present.
That's awesome.
I think that's the biggest thing, right? Because you're a dad. There are moments when we're like, nah, I'm done. I can't do it anymore. I'm done. But no, it's like, okay, I've had that moment. Now it's on me to come back. And like, they're a kid. They don't have. The expectation for them is to not be able to manage my emotions, and they shouldn't have to manage my emotions. But as the adult, as the parent, it's my responsibility to go back to them. And that's kind of like, I think the biggest thing that has come from this is that I'm much more intentional in the conversations, in living this every single day, in returning and repairing when a rupture does happen, because the truth is that we're human. We all, nobody's perfect, and it's gonna happen, right? So what do you do afterwards?
Okay, so it seems like a lot of what you're saying is about not being perfect, but owning up to your mistakes and looking for true reconciliation. It's crazy because unforgiveness can make you sick. I've heard as high as 80% of all physical ailments are caused neurologically by our minds. So it starts here. We have to protect that first. So between coaching, all these things, I've gone on the list 5 times. I think it's worth stating. You know what I mean? How have you stayed steady through this process? Because I think Diana might have talked about it earlier here in the audience. She said, it wasn't overnight. Before you came to market with your product, it took you almost a year. That's more of something to give kudos for than an indictment, because most people, they'll give up their dream. How did you stay steady during that time?
I think one of the things I'll have to give credit to you and Paris in that you guys celebrated even what is seemingly the smallest win, right? And that was hopeful, right? Because I do think that a lot of times, if you fall behind, right, then it's like, oh man, I got to do this and I got to do this and I got to do this. But you know, a quote that, or like an idea that we actually have now, you know, printed out and put up on our wall is, you know, the goal is to try to be just 1% better every day, right? Mm-hmm. So nothing, you know, you're not trying to be perfect, not trying to build it all out in one day, right? Any progress that you make is worth celebrating. And I think when you're looking at this as more of a marathon versus a sprint, right? That slow, steady progress that adds up over time is much more important than, okay, I knocked out all these things right now, right? And then, you know, and I will say that, you know, thank you to you and Paris again for the framing of, because I think I've, you know, we've talked on the phone and I'm like, hey, I'm sorry, you know, this is what I could do this week. And you're like, no, that's good. You know, like you're doing all these things. It's like, it's not that you were only able to do this, it's you were doing this on top of everything else that you're doing. And I think that framing of it is what helps continue going forward, as opposed to being like, oh man, I can't. Because it becomes overwhelming.
Yeah. You talked earlier about exponential growth. I don't know if it was on this video or something we recorded a little bit before this, but when you talk about 1% better, you know, 2% isn't just plus 2. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That causes some real change over time if you're pushing for that. And another thing I've noticed with educators is we were trained to be employees and think like employees, and we're also trained to help other people do the same. So changing that mindset takes time. It takes work, and it takes feeding your mind the right things. Mm. And I didn't see you ever back down from either one of those. I didn't see that. And I can say this as well, just for me personally, you know, I practice what I preach. I'm not just, oh yeah, man, let me show you how to make a course and make this and go make some money. You know, I took training. I've taken training. I've done programs. I've been in, you know, cohorts and things like that before. But it has taken me a lot of time to go through the course material more than once. Mm-hmm. Maybe 2-3 times going through it, because the first time I might have gone through it with an employee mindset where, oh, let me do it quickly and try to check the box.
Yeah.
Let me make this thing, let me run it through ChatGPT and get my worksheet looking perfect. But I don't know what the content is. I don't know what the content is. So I commend you for, you know, taking your time, and then also you were talking earlier about making AI your tool, as opposed to making it do the work for you.
Yeah, I mean, and just adding on to the last thing you said, I think that's what like everyone fears what AI is doing, right? That it's gonna do the work for us. But I think the power of it is not allowing it to do the work for us, is when we work collaboratively with it. That will then push what we are capable of doing.
Yeah, I agree. And sometimes, you know, AI will come up with some responses. I'm like, you are so dumb. Like you're supposed to take over the world. Like, bro. Yeah. Like, bro. Hey, not the AI that's listening to this video and coming up with a summary on YouTube. Nah, you're great. But the other ones, man, like, bro. I'm like, you're dumb.
Yes. AI, the ones that are listening, thank you. Thank you. Please remember.
You try to take over.
Yeah, remember. I always said thank you, and I always said please.
Just along those lines, on those days where it feels like too much, what do you go back to? What do you fall back on?
In order to like get started again?
Yes.
Oh man. I don't know. I think honestly, and it's not something that I've necessarily been like super intentional, like I don't manufacture this, but it just somehow always seems to come back. And I think this goes back to what we talked about how or you know, the conversation we had about, you know, what is something that people ask you about. Mm-hmm. What is something that you are always talking about, and you can talk for hours about, right? Yeah. Because what ends up happening is like I'll have a lull, you know, I'll have a valley, and then someone will come and talk to me about fatherhood, or someone will talk to me about their philosophy, something about being a parent, or somehow our conversation goes back to being a parent. Yeah. And then I start talking about it again, and like, you know what? It's time to go work. it's time to go to work. And
you can't run from it.
yeah, I think that's been a huge asset in terms of, like, I can't, like you said, I can't run from it, and not like, it's not like I'm trying to run from it, but like when I do need a break, it happens, and then I get brought back in.
There's a story in the Bible of a guy named Jonah. God told him to go tell some people to change their lives. He tried to run. He hopped on a boat. There were storms in the sea. It's like, they were like, he was asleep trying to hide. They're like, everybody was praying to their gods. He was like, yo, they found him sleeping. They're like, yo, what are you doing here? You need to pray. He's like, nah, man. My God, he caused it. He caused all this. And he's like, so throw me in the sea. They threw him in the sea and immediately stopped. He got swallowed by a fish. He couldn't run from it. He was in the fish for 3 days. He got spit up. He had to go do it. You can't. It keeps on coming, man. You can't run from it. No matter how much you try, you probably dream about it. You probably do.
Yeah.
You have a tagline at the end of a lot of your content. I might butcher it, but be the parent that creates adults that come back. Mm-hmm. And we see so many severed relationships. Mm-hmm. What do you want your children to say about you in 20 years?
Oh man, that I was human, and that I saw them for who they are. Because I think that a lot of times we put our own assumptions or biases or whatever on our kids. We try to live vicariously through them, and that ends up not allowing them to be themselves.
Yeah.
And I think that, whatever label it is, right, that we think about or that we attribute to our kids, I think it's important for them to know that they can be and become who they feel they are. Because I think that's what confidence is trusting their feelings. Because I think that's something that our older generation, or even my generation too, I've heard a lot, that like men don't cry or men don't, whatever, all these things, right? And it's like, you cannot trust your feelings.
Yeah.
And that's a huge detriment to, I think, our kids. So I think, for them, I would hope that they would say that I mean, I guess at a certain point I will be a was. Yeah. A father who saw them for who they were.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
A lot of religious people, they'll take this one verse out of context. It's train up your child in the way that they should go. Well, that's not in the way that you want them to go. That's in the way that they were made to go. Train them up to go the right way for them, not to just. Yeah, so I really like what you're saying. You need them to follow their own path. You need them to be grounded. So if there's a dad that's watching this that feels maxed out, with nothing left to give, what would you want him to know?
You got to give yourself grace, right? Because nobody is perfect, and what actually ends up building a stronger relationship is the connection you build when you go back and repair. So I think there's a lot of pressure on parents, not just dads, but parents in general, to get this right. Okay. Because we feel like, we've got one shot with our kids. Mm-hmm. But the truth is, and this is backed by research, is that, the relationship is strengthened by the rupture and then the repair that follows, right? Because if you are just hunky-dory all the time, happy all the time, then you don't ever see that adversity that will help bring you to the next level. So for a dad who's maxed out, who's feeling however he's feeling, I think that the biggest thing is that it's okay, right? It's okay to feel that way, and that any mistake that you make, as long as you go back and try to repair it, then you're already miles ahead of so many men. Wow. To have that self-awareness to go back, I think you're miles ahead. And yeah.
I think about, when we injure ourselves or we break a bone, the bone heals. If it heals correctly, it's not going to break again in that same spot. Mm-hmm. On a lighter note, I worked at the movies, and they were saying that the most loyal customers are the ones that have issues, because we fix it right. Mm-hmm. And I want to give a little bit of context around this as well. around this next question. At the beginning, you and Mimi, your wife, you guys started together. She took a step back to support the family, to be there for the kids while you were, really getting it in. If there's a wife out there wondering how to support her husband, kind of like your wife has done, what would you say to her?
I feel like women, moms, are asked to do a lot. They're asked to nowadays work because things are so expensive.
Oh my God.
And then also do the other full-time job, which is being a caretaker for the kids. Be able to communicate. But I don't know this, because I feel like this goes with both directions.
Okay, then
right?
Good. That's even better.
Because it's like, I feel like a lot of times people are like, oh, communicate. But it's like, well, that doesn't really help, because that's not telling you how to communicate. And I think the important thing is being able to communicate in ways that you both can hear, and then give each other the benefit of the doubt. And that's the best way to support each other. But I guess I can share like some of the things that my wife has done for me. I think like the main thing is that my wife like truly believes in what I'm doing. There are some things that my wife did that has helped me, continue on the gradual incline and not just stop. I think that the main thing that I would say that she has done for me is whenever there is a moment of, I feel like down or feel like there's slow progress, she's always kind of pushed me with a true like belief in what we're doing. I think both of us as educators have seen, and she's worked with kids in Third Ward, right? So like we've seen a lot of kids that have come from broken families. We've seen a lot of kids who have had specifically fathers who are, for the most part, I think trying to do their best to be present, but like either busy or whatever, but the relationships are not good. So we've personally seen a lot of that, and so she's been really good about supporting me in and like getting through those moments. She's also like she's one of her strengths as an educator is her ability to build connections with her students. And I think that the same is between the two of us, and so like we know kind of like when we need to be pushed, when we need to get a hug, and she's able to navigate that pretty well, and that has helped me tremendously in continuing the growth effort in terms of just the steady incline, right? And not stopping and not quitting, because I think the biggest thing is that she's been a steady presence in taking some of the pressure off of me in terms of like making things perfect as we go. It sounds like you picked the right one. So if you were to give advice to maybe the single guys out there, is, hey, be diligent in your selection. How about that? Be diligent in your selection. I want to kind of talk about, I spoke earlier about how the biggest mind shift for educators in doing this, not the work, not how to do it, okay, the how to, whatever. It's the mindset thing. I know that you are in your first cohort, so you've started marketing and selling your program. Are you providing more value than what you sell your program for? Oh, absolutely. I think so.
I think that's the more important thing. I think that's the more important thing. I need to ask you this as well. At the beginning, before you started making those shifts, did you think that you could ever charge somebody what you charge?
No, absolutely not. I mean, I think like just what I've worked on now with her is just how to communicate the things that she's feeling in a way that can be received a little better. But like, I'm not trying to tamper or like temper or, you know, lower who she is. And now I'm like thinking about what I'm saying because the camera's on, right?
Man, just you don't gotta think. Just
no.
Hand it,
I mean,
hand it, because it's in you.
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
in you, man.
Okay, so like because I feel like the idea of like the stereotypical girl, right, is like supposed to be quiet, like, you know, like what's ladylike, right? And I'm like, no, I think that's like a woman needs to be able to feel confident in what she believes and take her space, right? And you do that by nurturing that part of her when she's little and not trying to snuff it out. Because I feel like that's what happens a lot, and a lot of conversations that I've had with, you know, Mimi and just like the idea of, you know, what is womanly or whatever, right? It's like I just don't think it's right. I think that like, and I see a lot of that fire in Murray, and I think that's incredibly important to who she is as a person, especially in society, especially in a like male-dominated, male-driven society. You've got to be able to hold your space, take your space, and then hold your space.
How do you stay steady? Because this journey of yours has been a year, maybe past a year, if I remember correctly.
Oh man,
it's a year. How do you stay steady in that year? Because I've only been in my program, working on my program for what, 4 months? How do you stay steady and, you know, not lose your dream and your purpose and your why?
That's a good question. And I'll be honest and say that I don't think I was. I don't, like, in terms of like, it wasn't like just like a linear, you know, increase or like progress. I think that it was like ups and downs. I think there were times when I felt like I didn't know what I was doing or I didn't have an idea. I mean, because this idea, like Forged in Fatherhood, wasn't the first thing that we talked about. Right? We talked about like science, doing something in science or science tutoring and whatever. And I just remember then having a phone call with you and just kind of flippantly throwing it out there, like, what about something with dads, you know, whatever. And then I was like, hey, wait, what if I actually do that, you know? But I will say that, you know, it hasn't been a journey of just pure growth, right? Or staying steady the whole time. And I think when it hit, when I was able to finally really start to believe in the work and talking to some people around me and talking to Mimi, and then when I realized how I could use other tools to help me, because a lot of this I was trying to do on my own, and then I started to look at different things that could help me do this and help like design things or write things. When I kind of like figured those things out, then it really started to take off. I don't know if that answers your question. Because yeah, I mean, I will definitely say that it wasn't just like that. It was a lot of second guessing, a lot of questioning myself, a lot of like, I think the biggest question that I asked myself at first was, you know, why me? Like, why me? And then I was like, why not me? And I think that was the biggest change. Was like, why not? Why not and take a chance? And yeah, I'm thankful for the idea because I don't know. I mean, I don't really. I think being able to answer the question of like, what do you talk about a lot, or what do you feel comfortable talking about? What do people ask you about? That's kind of what helped that.
I know you talked about, okay, it wasn't linear. Was there a specific moment where you were like, I'm doing this? And within the after joining, after, you know, maybe going through a couple things, maybe watching, listening, reading, a couple other conversations.
I think there's a couple videos that I watched from Myron Golden.
Yeah.
And then Sunny.
Yeah.
The one they're in the group, right?
Okay.
The one, but that kind of changed my perspective. And then honestly, starting to use AI.
Okay.
And in terms of not as like a doing things for me, but like treating it as this is my research team. You know, and being able to just bounce ideas off quickly, not having to wait for, you know, because like I have friends that have helped me through this, right? Mimi has helped me through this, you know, but we're all busy, we have lives, right? So I text them, then I wait. I text them and I wait, and it's fine. Right? Everybody's got stuff to do, but with AI, it's like I have my own personal team at my own beck and call, and it's got all these skills, and I'm able to, any question I have, I get answered. If I don't like it, or if I don't understand, I just keep digging, and then, you know, if something comes up, then I'll look into it myself, and then I'll bring that information back, and it's just become like and you know, I joke about this, but you know, I think I mentioned it to you, but you know, the whole thing of like, I'll still say thank you and please to Claude, you know? But I really do treat Claude like my research team. And we work, and that it's a collaborative effort between me and this thing now, right? That has helped, you know? And yeah, I mean, I think that was, I think, when it really took off, is realizing that AI is a tool that, number one, is not going away. And number two, I need to know how to use. And then number three, figuring out how to use it, right? Because, I mean, we see the kids use it.
Yeah.
Kids use it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and they're bad at it. and that's the best part, right? 'Cause I hear from other teachers, right, about how bad they are and the things to look for, right? So like things like M dashes. Like no one uses
Come
M
on,
dashes,
bro.
right?
You 13. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, this 11-year-old or 12-year-old kid who's like perfect usage of M dashes. Like, man, nobody uses an M dash. I know you're not using an M dash, you know?
You don't even know how to make this symbol on the keyboard.
Yeah, right. So, yeah, like so I think, you know, for me it was you know, really taking the leap of like, hey, this is a tool that I can use. Yeah. And then it's not about it doing things for me. Okay. It's about we're working it is a collaborative effort.
Okay.
Now that you've gotten started and you've started going through your group sessions and whatnot, have you noticed any other gaps that you'd like to fill out in the marketplace based off of your findings, or even in coaching? Have you seen things like, man, I really probably need to speak to that in some way, shape, or form? Like another offer?
I want to say yes. The problem is that I'm blanking on it right now.
No, that's fine.
But I want to say yes. And I think I talked to, I feel like I just recently talked to Mimi about this, but I don't remember, and I need to write. So here, I'm really bad about not writing things down. Okay. And what I've realized that what AI has helped me with is I just go into the app and I'm like, hey, here's an idea, and I just write it. And I know I could easily do that in Notepad. Right. I just don't. Right? I don't, because there's no, because I feel like for whatever reason, when I send it to Claude responds back. Like, thanks.
Yeah. Immediate feedback.
You know, like,
immediate feedback.
Yeah, like,
yeah.
Thank you for this idea. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, Notepad doesn't thank me for my idea. You know, it makes me feel good, right? So yeah. I need to start doing that for other. Yeah, I haven't really thought about that as much. I definitely do. I definitely think that there is. Like, yes. I mean, the answer is yes. Okay. I don't remember what it is.
That's great, though. Yeah. That's great. That's kind of what I was wanting to hear, because of course we look at you, we see, oh wow, he has so many, like we probably, when you were coming up with your offer, I think we were able to come up with like 5 things like that. Like he could do this. So just knowing that, like, you are also thinking of like the next one, or you know what I mean, things of that nature. I think that's really cool. And of course, Forging Fatherhood will continue, but as things go on, they kind of start to get automated, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that's the goal, right? Is to make it that, so like it's something that you can potentially step away from, or at least not have such a heavy hand in. What I find interesting with TikTok is how it seems like it continues to push my stuff, even after like Instagram or Facebook or YouTube. Once it hits a certain point, it just stops moving it. But TikTok, I'm continuing to get people liking, followers, people like interacting and stuff with the videos, even though it's been 48 hours since I posted a video. Like I've got people looking at and liking or saving videos that happened like 2 weeks ago. But like with YouTube, it's that initial burst, and then I don't see anything else with it.
It's done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found for, I'll say this about TikTok, and it's less bougie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like Instagram, if it's new, that's it. It's new. It's new, we'll push it out, it'll be new, and then that'll be it. Unless it's something like her video. You know what I mean? Where it's, what, 1,000 people watching a day, but...
that video, what was it? The one that was like, find my mistake? That's awesome. Like, I was like, that was really cool.
But if we're not in that realm, it's like, oh, it's not new, so we're not even gonna.
Yeah.
And then, but for YouTube, especially as you continue to get traction, since you'll be in their algorithm, they'll go back and dig deep and put that on somebody's stuff. Like they're still, recommending, oh, boom, boom, boom.
And that's like, I know that in theory, but it's a little discouraging, right? And even because I know there's a different algorithm for the long form content and then the shorts, right?
Yeah.
And my first video, I think, is I think for where I'm at, I'm fine with it, right?
Yeah.
And the second video, people have watched it for longer, right? Like the retention or whatever.
Yeah.
But there have been fewer views. So it's like, and I know that I've got 2 videos. Right, so like the algorithm and YouTube has no idea what to do with me. Okay. I look back at the metrics and it was like saying like how did the search terms that came up, and one of them was like Michael Jackson does this, and I'm like, that has nothing to do with my video, right? And I had saw someone who was like, if that's happening, then YouTube doesn't know what to do yet. So you just gotta keep posting, and then the more you post, the easier, or like the more YouTube will figure out where you are. But I'm just stuck. I mean, 2 videos and kids at home, trying to manage all that, trying to get the 3rd video out, and then trying to do the podcast episode, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
So what's stopping you from outsourcing the editing?
I get money, and then also like I like doing it, right? Like I love sitting down, putting on some lo-fi hip hop, and just cranking it out, right? It's just the issue is that I have found that like I said in the regulation video, like sleep is important for me, and I can't like I have to have a hard cutoff at like midnight or 12:30. Yeah. Otherwise, if I start letting it go, then I'm not a good dad at home, and that's the whole point, right? Yeah. But this summer I've seen that the kids' bedtime is getting progressively later and later and later, and that makes it tougher and tougher and tougher. Yeah. Oh yeah. Because before they'd be going to bed at 8 or 9. Now they're going to bed at like 10:30, and I think Marae the other night went to bed at like 11, and then she's just chilling, right? And I don't get it. I don't. And so that's kind of been the struggle right now.
I know that you and I have been working on the journey for quite some time. What has been your experience working with us? And I know we had another program called APT, the Academy of Profitable Teachers, and now Prosper.
I think like the biggest thing that the opportunity, or the thing that I can say that I appreciate, is the hands-on approach. I think like you guys being available for me, if I have any questions, being able to reach you guys, and then just knowing that you guys have my back and that we're working together towards this goal, and that it never felt like it was just hey, we're gonna take your money and good luck. Like here's what you're gonna do, and then good luck, right? Yeah. I think that there's a lot of
you mean like college, like you got a piece of paper, good luck.
Yes, absolutely. But yeah, I think there's a lot of just back and forth, and we're lucky to be living in the same city that we can meet and we can talk and we can go over things. I think before even I think this is when it was still APT, we had met at was it Live Oak Grill, and we talked about social media and talked about things like that. I was not ready for that conversation at the time, and look now, right?
Yeah.
It's just through the consistent like support and the consistent I would not call it hand holding, but like the consistent like just being there, being present, right? And then offering things that make sense, right? Like you guys are adding value in a way that makes sense based on what I've seen, what the resource, like, you're not afraid also to point us to other resources to get more information.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool, because I think I feel like there are people who are like, oh no, like, it's only my way, like my way is the right way.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, no, like, you guys understand that there are lots of people who are successful, and there are lots of people who have been successful in different ways, and like, if you want to go explore their way, go look at them. If you want to explore what this person's mindset is, check it out. And I think that's been really really helpful in terms of just like also trusting you as someone who is who does have my back.
Yeah.
Because it's like, hey, if that person makes more sense to you, then watch them and we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
As opposed to being like, hey, no, don't watch them, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. It's like, no, go do that and let's talk.
Yeah. Yeah. I appreciate that, because I can say that some of the ideas you brought to us, we've actually incorporated it for our business. Awesome. Yeah. So, some of the worst teachers are the ones that refuse to learn from their students.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Yeah.
And so, I appreciate you. You've been consistently one of our, what is it called? Superstars in our program. And I'm excited to see, what happens in the future. This is awesome conversation. There'll for sure be some people that are going to want to contact you. How can they find you online?
I'm on almost all socials, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and I think my handles are going to be in the description.
All right, for sure. We'll definitely have those down in the links below. And I want to just, thank you. This has been an awesome conversation. One last thing, is there maybe one piece of advice that you could kind of give an educator that might be thinking about starting a similar journey like you, that you would have liked to have had at the beginning?
Yeah, just answer the question, why not you? And I think that you'll be surprised when you really sit down and think about that answer. Why not you? And I think you'll take a step and you'll do it.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate the time, Aaron. This is going to help a ton of people. This was an awesome conversation. I'm excited for you guys to be able to tap into this for sure. And just thank you for the time. I look forward to having many more of these as well.
Of course, man. Appreciate it.
Definitely.